it then becomes fun, because it is an art form, and the more you do, the better you get. That was a good one. Alright, that bulb of percussion is coming down a little bit. You can see I still have a slight valley in here, so we're still going to work on that a little bit. There's tons of ways. There's tons of ways to knap. There is no right way or wrong way. It's whatever way gets you to the end, the best for you. It's like painting a picture, really. You know, some artists like oil paintings, some artists like watercolor, you know. Some like to paint with their hands, others like to paint with big brushes. It's completely up to you and how you choose to do things and which direction you want to go in. There is a lot of different styles of knapping as well, like abo would be aboriginal, meaning that it's the native way, with a rock and deer antlers. Oh crap. I like to do a mix of modern as well. So here's a modern tool to the abo. Here's a modern tool to the original. So I mean, there's different things you can do and different ways you can go with it. I like it all. I do. It depends on what I feel at the moment. Now, Obsidian, which I'm working now, is volcanic glass. It's almost pure silica. It's not pure because it's not clear, and that's what gives the colors and grains. And this is a banded obsidian. It looks like it was a maybe rainbow obsidian that they cut wrong, and it ended up banded. Yes, there we go. There we go. That was a good flake removal there. See that flake? Now you can see how we're thinning this thing down here. Thinning it down. Flattening it out. Taking rid of all the humps and bumps. And that's the whole idea. The farther and farther you go, the thinner it gets, the more fragile the piece becomes, and becomes harder and harder to work, and it also becomes easier and easier to break. I'm going to raise this edge one more time. The basic idea of a platform is you want a slope or downwards. So when I hit this, Remember that 100-degree cone. Alright, with flint knapping, we're only using half of that cone. If I hit this like this, you got 50% coming this way, 50% coming that way. So I'm only using the one going this way. So if I want a steeper angle, I'm going to bring my attack out. If I want a shallower one, I want to bring it in. So it depends on your angles of how you hit, the preparation of your platform, how steep your angle is, and how accurate you can hit. Those are all the main players in the percussion, which this is called direct percussion that I'm doing right now. Direct percussion meaning that I'm hitting something directly with something else to do that. So direct percussion, this would be. There is also an indirect percussion where you would use another tool in between the process. For say, use this, normally use a bigger ishy stick, which is longer. I have one in the house. But this would be actually placed on the platform and held with some force pushing inward. And usually you would hold this with your knee or something because you need more than two hands. You would press this here and then you would hit with a wooden billet or a rock to this. So I'm hitting this, this is hitting this. That would be indirect percussion. Alright, if you see I have a little rolling ridge here on this side and I got a big slope off on this edge. I'm going to work this edge a little more in and lift this edge up to get rid of this hump when I flip it in the next go around. So if you can see how high that is, I'm going to bring that down now. As you work and lift these edges and do all this thinning, you are losing width of your piece every hit. You're losing the width of your piece. So when you're trying to do this, you're wanting to do this the quickest as you can without losing as much material as possible. So at first, when you first start, you end up losing a lot and you end up making some really small thin points because you're learning on how aggressive to be on the attack. If you're too aggressive, you'll break it. So, you know, you really can't go balls to the wall to it right away. Sometimes you can if you're good and you know what you're doing. But at first, you really need to get that feel. So you tend to be a little shy because you don't want to break things because you're tired of breaking things because you've been breaking them for months. Unfortunately, here in Western North Carolina, or the state of North Carolina, we don't have very good lithics here for flint knapping. We have a ton of quartz and we have a ton of quartzite. There is some pretty decent rhyolite in some counties, but I'm not near those counties and we don't find that too regularly here. So all I have is quartz, milk quartz, sugar quartz, and quartzite. Other than that, that's it. So, and all that stuff is pretty dang hard to work. You need to have the right pieces of rock to be able to work that stuff, because a lot of it will have freeze crack. What a freeze crack is, hold on a second here, I gotta be really careful here on the ends. Tips and the butt ends will break points really easy, so you gotta be careful with them. There we go. braid it down. Just trying to get this little belly out of here. There we go. That's a little better. Alright, let's see here. Let's work this back a little bit. When I first started, I used to just knap until the rock formed itself almost. Let me, it would kind of just take form of itself. And then I would just go from there with whatever style it kind of looked like. But as you get better, you can start to shape things way earlier. I'm practical to, I like Daltons and corner notch Kirks. They're my favorites. Dovetails, things like that. I like all those kinds of points. So we're going to try to do a pretty